What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the CCS Apollo League. Today, we are here for our Week 8 matchup as Khan takes on DoV Twisted in a cross-conference matchup. I'm Rod Chan, joined by Elsa the Queen. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, ride chains, re-energized after being off here for a couple of weeks and excited to be back here in the CCS. We've got an exciting matchup tonight between Khan and DoV Twisted, two teams that are, in different places in the standings, but because of the way that this league is organized, they're both very much in it. And given that this is the last week of regular season play, I know that everybody wants to go into the playoffs on a high note.
Absolutely. You mentioned these two teams in different spots here. Khan sitting in Group A right now at 2-5 series score. Well, DoV Twisted has their mirror in Group B, 5-2 right now, sitting in second place in that division. So feeling pretty good, but they would like a win to secure that top three spot in the Group A. Sorry, B.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And last week we did see DOV Twisted on the stream, and they unfortunately lost close 2-1 series, but to Skyloft Spires, a team that they, on paper, absolutely should have been able to beat. So as we get into this champion select here, I know that DOV Twisted wants to be able to turn it around. Again, we talked about going into the playoffs on a high note. Losing to two bottom, kind of lower ranked teams here is not the way that they want to start out the playoffs, and they'll look to turn it around here tonight as we already ripped through some of the picks here.
Khan opting to take away the Lock, Darius, and Corky. I believe Lock is still is he
No, he's
still
enabled.
oh, he's enabled
Yep,
this week.
first week.
Okay. First week lock is enabled, so taking that off the board. First picking the Zigs for themselves here, and then on the other side, DoV Twisted banning away the Shyvana, Senna, and Urgot, and opting to take the Kaisa and the Poppy so far. So interesting to see those picks coming out here. Potentially our bottom laners picked first for these teams.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting, but I do feel like DOV feels pretty safe with this Kaisa pick into the Ziggs, which is not necessarily a pick that pressures the lane really hard. Once he gets a couple of items, though, of course, as we've seen for those of us who've watched MSI, a very, very annoying pick to deal with, just doing tons of damage, able to clear the waves and sort of extend games even when he is behind. So a nice pick for them, for Khan to start things off with here. And for Khan, this is a team that started out pretty strong in the CCS, definitely, had a hope of being a top three team in their group early on. But, as the league has developed, they have really struggled against especially some of the top tier teams. So they're looking to turn that around and show something a little bit different here. I'm surprised to see this Skarner locked in alongside the Maokai. Kind of assumed that the Maokai would probably be going into the jungle role, but I'm assuming that now, with that Skarner picked up, it probably will be going into the support. So that is the full 2v2, I would assume, locked in already from Khan.
Yep, and on the other side, DOV Twisted opting to pick that Ornn, a safe top laner who can deal or can impact the game in a lot of ways, has the ornaments as they get later on into the game, and then also just a champion who has a lot of CC, can be very tanky, relatively safe in the lane as well. So another pick that we like to see is, blinded in that top lane. The second round of bans underway here. Talia and Oriana, the first two mid laners taken off of the board here, and Hui to follow it up.
Yeah, just to expand on what you said about the Ornn, I think we've seen in this CCS quite a bit of success from these tank top laners. Right now in a meta where split push is pretty weak, top lane is kind of weak in general. So sometimes when you'll see these carry champions in the top lane winning lane, they're not actually able to translate that into winning the game later on. So I like the move here from DOV to just lock in that strong blind top lane pick before these next bans come through. Interesting to see the Elise ban coming out there. These days we see a lot of the Elise support. So we've definitely got some flexibility here on the side of DOV so far, specifically with this Poppy pick. We know it's not going to go into the top lane, but certainly could still go into the jungle or the support. It's definitely strong against Maokai, being able to block the Twisted advance if you operate it correctly. However, with that being said, doesn't necessarily look like that is where it's going to go for now.
Yes, and the Nautilus is going to be locked in here to pair up with that Kaisa in the bottom lane. So Poppy, a little bit of a flex pick, and opting to not take that into the support role. DoV Twisted likes the Nautilus instead here. We'll see what Khan opts to do to counter this. Still have what we assume is both of their solo laners on the board to pick, but we will see as we get further into this here. Any picks? Oh, okay. Zahen is going to be the lock in here for that top lane, I assume.
Yeah, and we've seen quite a bit of Zahen. I mean, it's a pretty strong pick, does a lot of different things, and is kind of a good medium in between that carry top lane and still providing some utility. So we'll see what they decide to finish this one out with some kind of mid laner here. As you said, quite a few bans coming out
Whoa.
against the mid lane specifically in the second round. So Cassiopeia looks like will be the selection, and it will be R5, I assume, for the mid lane for DoV Twisted.
Yeah, that's what you have to think here. One thing I'm noticing about this team composition, I guess honestly both of these team compositions here, a lot of magic damage coming out, especially if DoV Twisted opts to go for this Syndra or one of these mages that they've been hovering so far. Zahen really the only major AD damage dealer that we're seeing so far in this game. And looks like we're gonna get a Vel'Koz here.
Yeah, Vel'Koz being the last pick is very interesting. It does bring up a little bit of a question as far as flexibility here. I mean, I don't think that we'll see the Kaisa go mid lane, but it is, something that could be possible to put Valkaz into the bot lane. We saw that again at MSI to a lot of success, putting that putting that Valkaz in the bot lane. However, I do think it's a little bit more, it's a trickier pick to execute in that lane specifically. Vel'Koz doesn't have that great of range in the earlier levels when he still needs to step up to be auto attacking some of those minions. So probably anticipating that this one will go into the mid lane here for our Ohio drive. We'll get some confirmation of that once the lock-ins happen. But yeah, with what you said, Ride Chains, it is very notable the amount of magic damage specifically on the side of this con composition. I think that the champions that helps the most is primarily the Ornn, who should be stacking magic damage. I mean, it's a little bit of an awkward situation for him just in that he's laning against the Zahen, but then the rest of the team is magic damage. So if Ornn can get ahead early, he'll have the kind of luxury of indexing really heavily into magic damage. Could see that from the Poppy too, although often we see at least one damage item coming out from Poppy when it comes into the jungle. So I'm excited to see how the itemization sort of evolves in this one for the tankier champions, especially on the side of DoV.
Yeah, a lot of magic resist going to be built up in this game here. Gallia would have been a crazy pick in the mid lane for Hoshi
Yeah, that's
if
true.
if that was on the table, but opting for the Cassiopeia instead here. I feel like this is also another champion that we haven't seen too much. This Cassiopeia.
No, certainly not. Again, it's something that we've seen more of in the bot lane, I think, at least in professional play. Haven't seen a ton of it in the mid lane. It's a very sort of feast or famine champion. If you get fed, you can do a ton of damage, but it's also all about landing those multi-member ultimates efficiently. The Petrifying Gaze can be a tricky thing to land if your opponents are playing to avoid it. So excited to see what Hoshiyomi will be able to do on that one. That's another place where technically there could be some flexibility between the Ziggs and the Cassiopeia, since we've seen both of those bot lane and mid, but I do expect the Ziggs to be going into the bot lane this time.
Absolutely. We are now into the in-client pick and ban phase. Before we throw it to a break, though, I do want to give a quick reminder. We are continuing our CCS Revival replay runs. We got some tech that allows us to watch and download replays even after client patches. All I need from you is to upload all the raffle files of your match to hashtag Apollo Replays in the Discord. Be sure to include all game replays and team sides per game. Main goal of this is to have your matches on the CCS YouTube, so we all have the access and potential to watch all matches week over week instead of just the streamed ones. And who knows, maybe they'll even be casted. Think your game's a banger? Upload to Apollo Replays now. We are going to throw it to a short break before it is showtime. We'll be right back after this competitive integrity spectator delay. Don't go anywhere. And we are on to the Rift for game number 1 between Khan and DoV Twisted. On the blue side, we got Khan, Diminish, on Zahen in the top lane, Pride on Skarner in the jungle, Hoshiomi on Cassiopeia in the mid lane, and rounding out in the bottom lane, Killin and Nice Shadowkeeper on the Ziggs and the Maokai.
And on the other side, we got DoV Twisted, Smoke in the top lane on the Ornn. We got Fate in the jungle on Poppy, Ohio Drive in the mid lane on the Vel'Koz, and then we got 2.2 and Panda Boat on the Kai'Sa and Nautilus in the bottom lane there. Excited for this match. One of the things to note here about DoV's team composition is that they are fairly short range here. You know, they do have the Vel'Koz for kind of that longer range poke.
Oh. Okay, a little bit of a trade early here as the exhaust is going to be used. Damn, okay. Early exhaust burned by Khan. Nice little advantage coming out for this DoV bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the reason why you pick Nautilus with Kai'Sa, of course, which is that there's great synergy between the Kai'Sa plasma stacks and the Nautilus being able to have multiple CC methods early on. And so, yeah, a nice trade here. I mean, I don't think this is ever going to be a lane where Ziggs is trying to dominate the lane, so hopefully shouldn't be too big of a deal. They should be able to sit pretty far back. But as I was saying, I mean, with the Ziggs and Cassiopeia in particular, interested to see if they can kind of survive the initial burst of engage from DoV, how well they will be able to kite out these fights later on, because especially Ziggs should be able to sit pretty far safely back here in these team fights, especially if Khan is able to control the vision around the Rift. But for now, not necessarily expecting anything too wild in this early game. Poppy definitely has the potential to have some pretty potent early ganks if she wants to. Skarner probably waiting, a little bit more to get that level 6 and impale before he is trying to do too much. But an early roam by Panda Boat here.
Yeah, Panda Boat in this mid lane here, looking onto Hoshi. We'll see if they find anything. The flash hook connects here, and the knockup will be true as well. Ignite's going to be ticking down, but Hoshi is going to be able to just walk that one out. Does have the TP and didn't have to burn flash either, so nice job there by Hoshi getting out of that unscathed.
Yeah, we see Ohio Drive using his Q right before Nautilus flashed in for the hook, which seemed to be the difference maker there. Unfortunately, the Q going wide. If he could have guaranteed that, maybe would have been able to flash forward himself to finish that one off, or at least blow the flash. But fight in the river.
Oh man, Pride is in the middle of 4 now, getting caught on the crab. First blood going over to DoV and this Kai'Sa.
Yeah, so far Panda Boat just super active on the map there, being able to make the difference to cut off the jungler. Nice early kill, and the fact that it goes over to the Kai'Sa is even better for DoV Twisted here. They will be sitting pretty after that first kill. They definitely need this Kai'Sa to be strong, because they only really have 2 major sources of damage in this team composition, and being able to rip through multiple health bars from Diminish as well as Pride on this Skarner. It's going to be important that those carries get the resources that they need early on, which so far they have.
Oof. Nice trade in that mid lane from Ohio Drive there, as top laners going to continue to just be battling it out up there. I don't really expect any kills to come through, just kind of scrapping back and forth here as we approach 4.5 minutes. First dragon. Oh, wait a minute here. So we got to play mid. Pride is going to find Panda Boat coming through as Fate's going to flash forward. They got one as Panda Boat goes down. Hoshi flashing out with 1 HP for the time being. Is the geometry there? No, it is not. As now Exhaust going to be taking down Ohio Drive, and Fate running for the hills here as Pride and Nice Shadowkeeper are seeing blood. Ohio Drive under the tower, 1 HP, but Pride cannot find him. And Ohio Drive lives. And it's a nice play, winning play for DoV Twisted. But whoa, look at the top lane. Smoke with the flash forward, connects and finds the solo kill.
Yeah, and this is what we talked about being an issue for Khan in this game will be the later itemization, specifically by these tanks who are going to feel free to build heavy magic resistance in this game with no major source of AD outside of that Zehen. And, you know, given this early kill by the Ornn early on, he picked up that Bramble Vest, you know, which is a really strong early buy by itself, but most people do not look to transform that anytime soon. So I would expect once he's got kind of this first item in, and probably going to go for the Unending Despair. I would guess still as his first item, but after that will be able to index into this magic resist really early on. He's got this huge juicy wave just coming back in for the Ornn as well, so just in a really nice situation. He is down 10 CS, but going to soak up this CS under the turret and be in a great spot.
As we approach the 6-minute mark here, first dragon of the game has spawned. It is a Cloud. Right now, a 700 gold lead for DoV Twisted here. Everyone seems to be feeling pretty good. Kills on their AD carry, their top laner, and their jungler. As Smoke and Diminish battling it out. Here we go. We get a nice little replay here.
Yeah, I mean, and you can see here during this replay, this is the difference in between teams, you know, that are more and less disciplined. Just Khan going too deep under this turret. It looked really nice for them. They were able to pick up that first kill, but they needed to just walk away after Panda Boat went down. Instead, trying to go under the turret to pick up Ohio Drive and just not quite able to do so. You know, otherwise would be in a much nicer position here, all things considered. It's, you know, it's not time to ring the alarm bells or anything quite yet for Khan. Their two main carries have still been farming decently well here, especially Hoshiomi just kind of chilling out on this Cassiopeia in the mid lane. Obviously has had a lot of action in the mid, but has remained pretty steady despite that early on in this game. Just going to continue to use those Twin Fangs to burn down these minions here. And yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, the first dragon still there for the taking for either team. As of now, Khan does control the push in this bot lane. Panda Boat, he has not spent much time bot so far.
Hoshino Flash here, they're going to look for it as the knockup connects. Flashing forward with the dredge line, the Lifelorn Disintegrating Ray is going crazy now. And Pale's going to hit two as the Ornn has been sounded. Pride is the target, going to get knocked up under the tower twice. And Panda Boat finds the kill there. A big bomb coming through from Killen is not going to be enough to find anything on the backside. And yet another positive play for DoV Twisted.
Yeah, they're going to reset after that one. Did not opt to go over to the dragon, which they probably could have done, but just want to keep those reset timers up. And I mean, even though Killen is coming over here and able to pick up a resource into the mid lane because Hoshiomi died, you can see Kaisa in that bot lane just free farming, picked up that early kill, you know, basically for free, a courtesy of the jungler and support of their team, and now, you know, also able to you know, just sit there, pick up resources, should be pretty close to first item, doesn't quite have it yet. But yeah, I mean, all signs are looking very good for DoV Twisted. They are now up 2,000 gold very early in this matchup. Looking angry after their kind of a disappointing showing last week.
Diminish aggressing forward onto Smoke here. Smoke has now the steel shoes and the Bramble Vest, so indexing heavy into that armor early, it's just going to make Diminish's life so hard in this top lane. You can see any trade he takes is just bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, I mean, he's basically full build against Zehen with the two items that he has here so far. It's going to be really, really difficult in the laning part of this game for Diminish to actually really get much done here. This is the feels good moment for Ornn. And yeah, I mean, as you said, he did early index really heavily into this armor. Now you can already see him picking up a null magic mantle. Doesn't actually even have to go back to base to do that thanks to his passive. And I think we'll continue to probably build in that direction from here on out, which will make it really hard for Khan to be able to take this Ornn down. We already saw also kind of some of the early roaming that Smoke has been willing to do. So just definitely happy with the situation here.
First dragon of the game going over to DoV Twisted. As now we got to play into this bottom lane. 2 point, gonna have to flash away from 2 ultimates there, but will be able to get out of that play unscathed. Pressure in this bottom lane, but nothing to show for it. Now as we go into this top lane as well here, Smoke and Diminish battling it out. Smoke has the flash. Right now, Diminish is getting the better of the play. He's gonna get that passive procced up. So does have the revive for the time being, but not gonna be any more extended action in that fight.
Yeah, Smoke doesn't quite have
Oh man,
the
crazy mid. Okay, Hoshi was I heard the Cassiopeia ult, but it was pretty low, but able to get out of there. Did have to burn the flash, so that's something to keep in mind for the next time. As Diminish now aggressing forward, gonna get hit under the tower. Ornhorn is sounded, flashing away. Grim Deliverance not gonna find the mark here. Smoke flashing forward, getting the auto in. The Bellows Breath is enough, but he gets knocked up, and he still finds the last hit, living 1 HP. Smoke solo kill.
That feels so bad for Diminish because Smoke was so incredibly low. Oh, and he even picks up the level up here. Otherwise, I think it would have been a free dive probably from Pride. Maybe not, just because Ornn has so many ways to CC. He is still trying to keep him under the turret here. Diminish does have teleport when he is back up. So I'd assume that Pride is just trying to delay as much as possible, but I don't...
Here he comes under the tower.
Oh!
Nice job canceling out on the charge from Ornn. Shutdown goes over to Pride, and that was a nice one for the Skarner.
Yeah, I mean, it is good to get this shutdown. You definitely would have liked to get Diminish involved in that to get him some of the gold and XP specifically. I mean, it would have been great if he was able to get the kill, but that's just not the reality here.
4 people in this into this bottom lane here, and Ohio Drive's going to be chunked out pretty hard. Both ultimates for the Khan bottom lane burned, as now Pride has joined the play into this bottom lane. Dragon not spawning for a little bit of time, so Twisted can't really do much with this play after the failed dive, but no harm, no foul here for Khan, and I think they're going to be happy to survive that play.
Yeah, I mean, it does deny a little bit of XP that came through under the tower there in the minions, but nothing too serious for this Ziggs, who is able to play relatively safe still in that scenario. You can already see how the Ziggs ultimate, just with 1 item, does start to do a pretty decent chunk of damage, but it's going to take more than just Ziggs to eat through these members of the DoV, who remain about 2k up here. 12 minutes, almost 13 minutes into this game. And yeah, next objective to spawn will be that dragon, unless the teams decide to prioritize Herald over here. But for now, yeah, these top laners, they just keep going at it.
Yeah, they are battling. Smoke trying to get this wave pushed in. Panda's in this top lane as well here, and it looks like DoV Twist is going to ping the grubs, but Pride in the area, looking onto Smoke. Hook's going to land here as the Ornhorn is now sounded. Impale's not going to find the mark as Grim Deliverance onto 2 is a lot of damage. Panda has to flash after safety, but now the rest of the team is here. A nice ultimate by Fate will get rid of any potential troubles, but that was a little dubious for Twisted.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, that's,
Oh, here we go into this bottom lane now. Exhaust coming down. Teleport's coming through. Lifeform disintegration rate. Finding thy Shadow Keeper on the edge.
Yeah,
Hydra's going to pick up another one.
Really nice ultimate there from 2 point to get out of danger on that dive. It was the logical move given how many members DoV had committed into the top lane. Ooh. If Ohio Drive still had that ultimate available, might have been a sticky situation for Hoshiomi, but not going to be the case there. Yeah, I mean, what I was going to say before about that top lane fight was just that DoV definitely did not want to start that one with the lack of damage that they had available on that top side of the map. Panda Boat just being a little bit overzealous, maybe, with that one, but at the end of the day, thanks to the keeper's verdict, as you said, no harm, no foul. So our are able to make it out without losing too much. The gold lead actually just continues to expand for DoV across the map as a whole here.
Khan was able to pick up 2 of those grubs off the backside of that play. So a little bit of a win for them here as these plates in the mid lane are falling. Dragon has spawned. As we see now, each of these teams down into this bottom side river. The crab will be secured by DoV Twisted. They look to have priority on this objective for the time being. It's going to be 3v3 in this bottom lane. We'll see if anyone tries to pull the trigger, as the vision is in control for Twisted. Dragon started up now by Poppy. It is the Infernal. So that one's not going to be on the table for Soul. And let's see if Khan wants to look for anything here. Pride's going to get scouted out. Dragon is taken pretty low and will be secured by Fate. And Khan not interested in any contest here. And with that, the mountains rise on the rift. Mountain Soul is the choice for game number 1.
Yeah, and this would be, I mean, this Soul, I mean, we've talked about how tanky this orange should eventually be able to become. That would be a huge boon for him.
Okay, play into this bottom side here. It's going to be the 3v3. A lot of people having to flash away to safety. The Shadowkeeper had to run. 2.0 had to run. A lot of ultimates used, but again, no casualties here. DoV able to get out of the play. A play that seemingly was quite bad. Able to get out without any casualties here.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like the engage is very easy to predict here so far from Khan. Whenever they're seeing the Skarner and the Maokai on the screen at the same time, they know what is about to happen. And DoV has done a good job of getting out of the way when the 2 of them are there. So they're going to have to maybe control vision a little bit better. Oh, or come around.
They found 2.0. Killer Instinct's going to get used here. Impale is going to miss, but the Satchel Charge will bring him back in. The shutdown goes over to Killin, as now Panda Boat is in trouble, having to run for the hills, using the hook to get away. But the Skarner is there to stop any potential escapes. Exhaust is going to be used just in case. Satchel will bring him back, and the bombs will fly. Another kill for Killin.
Yeah, I mean, that is a huge turnaround here in this fight for Khan. They're going to get themselves within 1,000 gold. We'll be able to save that mid lane turret for now. But, you know, at first it looked like maybe 2 Point would be able to get out of the way as we go into the replay here of what happened top lane, because it was a cross-map play overall. Ooh, great job by Diminish being able to get out of the Ornhorn there. Smoke trying to flash away, but Diminish still having his up. And I think that this is just, you know, honestly, as we go back to live.
All right, let's run that back here.
Picking up another kill. I think that this Ornn is just playing, Smoke is just playing too aggressive, I think, in this lane. There's no reason why he needs to be getting into these 1v1 fights against Diminish. I mean, yeah, he can get further up in the matchup, I guess, but I don't really know how much that benefits the team as we look back here at the solo kill between the 2 mid laners.
Our drive and Hoshi looking. Knockup does not connect here, but Hoshi flashing forward under the tower, just going a little bit too aggressive and will fall. The Ray from Vel'Koz seeming to be too much for the Snake to handle here.
Yeah, it's, I mean, you can see there he missed the tectonic disruption. I believe he also missed the plasma fission as well, but only needs the ultimate to burn through the health bar of Hoshiyomi. 3-0 and 3 now, working on his second item already for the Vel'Koz here. Ohio Drive definitely feeling good. And overall, I mean, I would say DoV still has control of this game as long as they're playing smart. I think that the one thing that comes up in that earlier skirmish in the bot lane that could be a little bit of a concern is 2 Point just on this Kai'Sa really short range. This is a short range composition in general from DoV outside.
Oh my heavens.
What? What are we doing?
Handable flashing under the tower here. Whoa. We always have one play that's questionable every week. And this time we're getting it early in game 1.
That's the moment where I type lag. If I did that, because I don't really know.
Oh man, Hoshi, No flash. Goodbye. As this flashless Cassiopeia punished once again.
Yeah,
Oh
Cassiopeia,
man.
I mean,
Now Fate is in trouble here. He does not connect. He's gonna get the stun into the wall here. As now that Nature's Grasp finds the roots onto 2. They gotta look and try and get Ohio Drive here. Ohio Drive is just free hitting in the play, dealing so much damage, and Pale's gonna go wide as the stun onto the wall. Once again, Ohio Drive picks up the kill as Killin, 2-Point and Panda are on the way. That Shadowkeeper's taking pretty low, gonna find the knockups once again here as Killin, now the last member standing. Double kill for 2.0, and it's destruction in the bottom lane.
yeah, 2.0 coming in there at the end, but great work kind of kiting around that play from Fight and Ohio Drive. And Ohio Drive at this point going crazy on this Vel'Koz. 700 gold shutdown possible here from Khan to get a Rage Bait redeemed. And,
Ohio Drive's actually Satan this game. Yeah.
I mean, it depends on which side you're on. I mean, if you're rooting for DoV, he's more like the Son of Christ, but you know, yes, if I was on Khan, I would definitely identify him as Satan, for sure. I think that's accurate. No rage from me on that one.
Ohio Drive right now up 2.7k gold, or 2.6k gold on this Vel'Koz over Hoshi. Man, this is a strong Vel'Koz as this dragon has spawned once again here. Potential soul point for DoV Twisted as they're able to secure the vision in this bottom side. The crab is theirs. The dragon has been started up as well here, and just so hard for Khan to get into this play, but it looks like they're going to try. They are posturing up, killing, throwing bombs, trying to find it here. Dragon, 3k HP as the Keeper's Verdict goes wide. Pride looking for the steal. 1000 HP. The smite will be proper. Actually, the smite was not proper as 2.0 able to pick up the last hit on the dragon, but nonetheless, DoV secures it and are now sitting at a Mountain Soul point at just 21.5 minutes.
Yeah, Soul Point, we talked about how great it would be for them to be able to pick up this Mountain Soul specifically for both that Poppy as well as Smoke on the Ornn here. They are sitting pretty far ahead at this point. Oh, Wishiomi.
Oh, see no flash?
I would not want to be there.
I'm surprised Fate didn't go for that.
Yeah, definitely seemed like he could have been in position to make a play. Didn't have the flash or maybe to get the angle on the Poppy, but I think he probably could have gotten the Cassiopeia on the edge of that wall there, but we'll never know. Today I learned that Cassiopeia can build boots now. I guess that's probably because of the role quest. They just made her passive totally meaningless when they came up with that role quest for mid lane, I guess, but that's neither here or there.
Gonna land in this mid lane, but this is a tanky Skarner here. Not much to be worried about for the time being as Smoke now in the building. Ornhorn's gonna connect onto 2 as they are dealing so much damage onto Pride. Pride has to run for the hills, will flash out to safety as now Demolish going into the back lines, flashing onto Ohio Drive, not gonna be able to find it as the hook lands on the other side of the fight. Fate and 2.0 dealing damage, causing chaos, but Diminish finds one on the backside. They turn their sights onto him now as the revive will be popped here. Hoshi trying to deal damage as well, but the stun connects. Knockups are coming through, and 2.0 finds the kill on a rampage now. Hoshi and Killin, the last 2 members for Khan left standing. It's a 3-for-1 in favor of DoV Twisted.
Yeah, great job by DoV to be able to buy time moving backwards. Ohio Drive was getting jumped on there by Diminish, but was able to get himself back to safety. Impressive fight for sure for DoV, especially because they were not able to get very much damage out of that disintegration ray other than on the Skarner, but still just showing how much damage they do have available here from their carry champions as the ornaments are starting to come in now. First one or second one going on to the Poppy. I'm surprised that we don't get one onto the Vel'Koz quite yet. But the other thing about Vel'Koz here, sitting at 4-0 and 9, does have 16 stacks on that Magi. So dangerous right now, but also just needs to be the #1 target here. If Khan could find some way to get a pick onto that backline, it would be huge for them, both in terms of gold and lowering some of the power and ability power here that the Vel'Koz does have stacked up on the Magi so far. DoV doesn't want to let that happen, though. I don't know. I don't know what that was. A little bit of a callback. Fate. I don't know.
Fate stuck his head a little bit too far and had to flash out just to be safe there, but DoV Twist now up 6,000 gold just about in this game. In firm control as we approach the 25-minute mark. The Baron has spawned. And I assume that this next play is just going to be around that Mountain Dragon, which is coming up in about a minute and a half here. Khan does not want to just give over a Mountain Soul to a team that's so tanky already. It just seems so hard for them to get in.
Yeah, I mean, as we've seen so far, they really haven't been able to contest for any of these dragons so far. I mean, it's always a little bit more difficult to get in there when you're on the blue side, especially once you fall behind. Got to be able to get around those walls, which are such a dangerous spot when you're playing against a Poppy in particular. You're putting yourself in a position where somebody is for sure going to get stunned. You know, they are trying to move into that area now, but it's still 50 seconds until that dragon spawn, so plenty of time for DoV to be able to come back in and gain some control of the map, clear out the wards that Khan will be putting down at the moment. And trying to set up a play in this brush, trying to force a face check.
Pride looking for something going forward here. Gonna find the Poppy. Impale's gonna hit only onto one. As now we'll see. Oh, they found 2.0. Potentially gonna get stunned up, doing a lot of damage. But he will stay alive for the time being. Goes unstoppable on the Kaisa. Let's see what they have here as Ornn flashing forward. Gonna find the knockups onto one as the hooks lands. The Life Orb Disintegration Ray is melting. It's so much damage from Ohio Drive as Diminish and Kill It are the last members standing. Diminish gonna get knocked up. Hooked. A double kill comes through for Ohio Drive. It's a 4-for-0 so far as DoV Twisted take control of the game. They crack it open. They're gonna get this dragon and they're gonna be sitting in firm control.
Yeah, the dragon is just being soloed out at this point by Fate. Don't even need anybody else there. Everybody else is dead other than Killin. And we got another rage bait here. This is why I compared Ohio Drive to the Wither. I guess that makes sense. The Wither, from my limited understanding of Minecraft, is very formidable. I would say Ohio Drive is also very formidable in this game. Did I do it right, Chains? Is that correct?
That was pretty good. Yeah, formidable is a good word to describe the Wither.
I think that's the only one that I know. So
I think it's pretty good. Satan also a pretty good way to describe the Wither. So yeah, we're 2 for 2 from random Minecraft player. Great job on those calls here.
I wonder who that is. They're just a random Minecraft player, I guess.
Must be someone who knows their stuff. Yeah.
Must have been someone who really enjoyed this week's CCS magazine, I guess. Great work being done over there, or so I hear. So, not surprised.
If you haven't read it, check it out.
Definitely.
Baron is active right now, a 7k gold lead for DoV Twisted. They're wearing the Mountain Soul, so it's just gonna be even more. As oh my gosh, Ohio Drive hits a Q and then 100 to zeros, killing with the ult. GG.
Right.
Has that
pretty
Rabadon
satanic at this point. You said, has the Rabadons completed. It's an ornament. It's the Rabadons with the Ornn upgrade to it. So not even just any old Rabadon. 7, 0, and 11 for Ohio Drive, who has absolutely dominated this game on Vel'Koz, which is a very difficult champion to pilot. It has some very different sort of patterns than a lot of others. Can be difficult early on navigating those trades, especially against Cassiopeia, who can really punish champions who are forced to step up to those minions. But it was no problem for Ohio Drive, who did get quite a bit of help early on in the lane from PandaBoat, who's just kind of made Cassiopeia's life miserable.
Oh, Pride is in trouble here. Gonna get caught out and knocked up. Doing a lot of damage. As Shadowkeeper trying to help as well. I don't think this is going to be anything here as the TP is coming in. Shadowkeeper will fall. Ornhorn's going to find one. They found Hoshi. Hoshi down as it's 3v2. Oh, hook lands onto Diminish as well here. PandaBoat going crazy as the knockup connects. Grim Deliverance trying to get back into the play, but I think that's just delaying the inevitable here. You went back into the danger. as Panda Boat will fall on the other side of the fight here, but it's a 4v2 as DoV Twisted pushing into this top side of the con base. This tower is going to go down very quickly. The inhibitor as well here. How much time do they have? They got 20 seconds on Hoshi and 30 seconds on Diminish. Do they want to look for more? It looks like no. They're just going to take that top inhib and back out of the play. I was checking this out. This Ornn Masterwork Rabadons is giving Ohio Drive 370 AP. Sorry, 350. 350 AP from one item.
Yeah, and it is 20.
That's a lot.
25 stacked Magi's at this point. I mean, it definitely is not feeling good for Khan at this point in the game. That 12,000 gold behind against the Vel'Koz. I mean, we haven't even really talked about the Kaisa, who is also a massive problem. 4 items, including the Zani's Hourglass there to keep herself safe if necessary. Yeah, I mean, just a lot of power here on the side of DoV. I think if it was any champion other than Ziggs earlier, they probably could have, they potentially could have even just looked for the end, but you got to imagine that it's just one more push here. And it's always been pride on trying to find these flank angles. He has found a good number of them in this game, but it just really hasn't mattered. Last chance.
Here we go. He's found Ohio Drive, and Pale's gonna hit onto 3, but the rest of the team is getting zoned out by Smoke, doing a great job there as Ohio will find a kill. Shutdown comes through now as the Grim Deliverance coming back in Diminish, trying to find anything onto the backline, will get revived, but it's not looking good for Khan here. Just going to delay the inevitable, gonna get knocked up and taken down. Panda Boat gets the credit for that one as this mid lane inhibitor is under siege, will fall. Waves in top and mid, supers in the top specifically as they are on to the Nexus towers. One of them is already down. The second will follow closely, and DoV Twisted gonna take game 1 in commanding fashion.
Yeah, this was one of the more dominant performances that we've seen on the stream here in CCS. This split by DoV Twisted in game number 1. Seeing that lineup there, and the Vel'Koz, I think, is appropriately sized as the most important champion. Yeah, I don't know. Not too much more to say about that one, right, Chains? DoV just really crushed it.
Yeah, Ohio Drive insanely strong on that play. Fate, or on that Vel'Koz. Fate doing a great job of just causing chaos, keeping the carries alive. Panda Boat had some nice roams in the early game. That's a great job there by DoV Twisted. We are going to take a short break, but we'll be back to see if DoV Twisted can take the series into a fashion or if Khan can force a game 3. We'll be right back. And we are back for the draft of game number 2. We got swapped sides here as DoV Twisted took game 1 in very commanding fashion, and the bans are already underway. DoV Twisted taking away the Urgot, the Shyvana, and the Senna, potentially. That's what they're hovering right now here, as Khan on the other side taking away the Corki, the Darius, and an unnamed third ban. We'll see what they opt to go for here. But any notes on game number 1?
I mean, not too many, right? Like it was a very dominant performance from DoV, specifically in the mid lane there from Ohio Drive. So excited to see what he wants to bring out in this second game. I mean, it's going to take a lot more than just a side swap here for Khan to be more competitive in this second one. I mean, they were competitive through the first few minutes. But one of the things that I guess was really of note to me was Panda Boat in that last game and the amount of time he spent roaming around the map. Definitely did not see that matched as much as it could have been, I think, from the Shadow Keeper, especially with the Ziggs being the other partner in the bot lane. And so interesting first pick here in this meta for the Ezreal. That I got a look out of you, Ride Chains.
Yeah, I feel like Ezreal is just not really that good unless you're like IELO.
Yeah.
Not to say that we are not playing in the highest elo here, but
Well, they
I don't
better
know.
not be the highest elo, otherwise they would be cheating in
That's
the
true.
league. It's
Not
part of the rules.
We
So,
like competitive integrity over here.
oh yeah,
As
big on competitive integrity for sure.
Khan's gonna lock in the Jinx and the Braum in the bottom lane. I like the Jinx better than Ezreal. It's just an easier champion to pilot. Does have that pop off and hyper carry potential here. Ezreal's a lot harder to play. You know, you gotta hit the skill shots. You gotta weave your autos, and it just takes a lot more. Requires a lot more to be good at the champion and be useful. Gonna pair it up with the Karma in the bottom lane. One of those bot lane duos that are pretty annoying. They have a lot
Yeah.
of poke and can deal a lot of damage, and um, potentially looking for this jungle pick for blue 3. The Wukong is the hover for now.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I agree that Ezreal's not necessarily the strongest in the meta right now. He just doesn't necessarily fit into team compositions in the same way that something like a Jinx does, who has, you know, that scaling potential a little bit more, also does really well in pick compositions where she can be a part of getting that first kill in any given team fight and then kind of be off to the races from there. Would be interesting to see. I mean, I would have expected a jungle pick here to match the Wukong, but instead locking in the Syndra from Hoshiomi, just wanting to make sure that they're able to secure a strong mid lane pick. Last game, we did see 4 mid lane bans for the second round. So just wanting to make sure again that they can have something stable into the mid lane. The Cassiopeia was not working in that first one. So reaching for something else, as they're forced to, of course, in Fearless Draft. But, you know, Syndra got, you know, nice long range, also able to, you know, work on singling out those targets for in some kind of pick composition, if that's something that they're kind of trying to look for here with the Jinx. So, you know, I mean, no huge holes, it seems like, in what has been built so far. I mean, I was just talking about Panda Vote roaming around the map. Karma can certainly roam around, but not going to be able to have quite as much early impact in those lanes like the Nautilus was, flashing forward, getting those hooks, blowing enemy flashes early on. So, you know, interested to see whether it will be more of a laning focus here from DoV in game number 2, trying to dominate in that range versus melee support matchup that they definitely have, you know, the potential to do if they can perform well here. But you know, given that mid lane pickup for Khan, we do see a couple of top lane / possibly jungle bans coming out here early, or in the second round from DoV, trying to limit what we'll see from Pride, who I think actually had a pretty decent game. Other than that, I mean, you could maybe point to that overstretch into the mid lane when he failed dive early on, but you know, was always sort of in the right position with the flanks and things like that. But the problem was they were just so far behind already that it just didn't seem to matter at that point.
Mundo is going to be the R4 lock in for Khan here. And my initial thoughts are just how are they going to kill this guy?
Yeah, that is, I mean, Mundo definitely does very well against things like Ezreal. Does not necessarily have the DPS, but this was sort of the problem is, I mean, again, I mean, I think that I mean, we'll see where this Mundo ends up going, but like the Skarner was pretty hard to kill in that last game too. Even Zahen had his moments where he was able to survive for long periods, but if you don't have the damage coming out, or if your damage dealers are already dying early on, it makes it really difficult. So that but I agree that it seems like DoV may be lacking for a little bit of damage against Mundo, but what team composition isn't, honestly, when Mundo's played optimally these days, he's incredibly difficult to take down.
Yep. To counter that, looks like DoV is opting for the Silas and the Olaf. So that's going to be a little bit more damage for themselves in that composition here. We'll see what Khan opts for with their last pick here. They got the full counter. Could be jungle or top, depending on what they like. Still a little bit of flex opportunity for DoV as well. So I think both of these teams are going to be able to check and see what they like. But Shen is going to be the choice here. And I see 3 tanks for Khan and a Jinx. That's what I like to see if I'm playing Jinx, at least. You got a lot of front line to sit behind and hit.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting here. I mean, I do think that Olaf is going to be really, really important in this game for DoV. I assume that the Olaf would go into the top lane for smoke. I suppose, I mean, I guess especially against Shen, you could send Wukong into the top lane, but I imagine it's going to be Olaf who is going to be really important just as far as being able to rampage into the back line is really nice against something like a Syndra, just to be able to shrug off that scatter the weak. Um, when he's got his ultimate popped, it will also have that additional speed up from the karma as well. So that is going to be, that Olaf is going to be hope to be the Jinx worst nightmare, running into her face, throwing axes at her. Especially if Wukong can get it into the back line there as well. But it will be interesting to see how DoV does play out these team fights, just because, as you pointed out, there's a lot of tanky members on the side of Khan that Ezreal might struggle to rip through. Now, I will also give kind of the caveat that all of this is assuming that we are going into the team fights on kind of an even state as far as how strong the champions are. Like if Ezreal can get fed early on and is able to pick up some additional resources, he definitely will have enough damage to get through these carries. But yeah, it's kind of a question. It's just a little bit more skill, I guess, involved in being able to land Ezreal's damage optimally versus Kaisa, who, auto attacks 4 to 5 times in a row and you automatically get that plasma proc. So not going to be quite as easy here for 2.0 in the second game.
Yeah, a lot of things to look at here in this game, but overall, I think I like the Khan draft just a little bit better than what we saw last game.
Definitely better.
They have
Yeah.
they have more damage. I think it's a little bit easier to play as well. So I think they're going to have a little bit more success in this one here. We'll have to see as we are now going to be working our way through this in client champion select here. We're going to take a short break to get through this competitive integrity spectator delay, but we will be back on the Rift shortly to see if DoV can clear it in 2-0 fashion or if Khan will force a game 3. Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back. And we are on to the Rift for game number 2 between DoV Twisted and Khan. This time, DoV Twisted on the blue side, Smoke in the top lane on the Olaf, Fate on Wukong in the jungle, Ohio Drive on Silas in the mid lane, and 2.0 and Panda rounding it out with the Ezreal and the Karma in the bottom lane.
On the other side, we got Khan with Diminish playing the Shen in the top lane, Pride GS on the Mundo in the jungle, Hoshiomi on the Syndra in the mid lane, and Killin TY and the Shadowkeeper with the Jinx and Braum in the bottom lane. They want to make sure that they don't start out the level 1 here, losing a summoner spell and the majority of their carries health bar like they did in game number 1. So it looks like they're trying to play it pretty safe, stepping back there initially. But yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this in the champion select a little bit, but I do like this composition a lot better by Khan than what we saw from them in game number 1. I like that they prioritize their mid lane there. So we see these top laners going back and forth early on. Smoke should be able to have the advantage early on in this 1v1 matchup before Diminish is able to pick up you know, a little bit more health and resistance here against the Olaf. But excited to see if Khan can have a little bit of a better showing here in game number 2. I don't know, we haven't talked a ton about the stakes, ride chains of this matchup. Neither one of these teams is looking at, you know, elimination or anything like that at this point. But, you know, for DoV, they will be going up into the upper bracket for the playoffs. They don't have to worry about the gauntlet, whereas Khan, they will be playing in the gauntlet. I believe, though, if they were to miraculously come back and win this 2-1, they would have the potential to avoid the first round of the gauntlet, which is just a best of 1 play-in sort of thing. We know how volatile best of 1s can be, so you never want to put yourself in a situation where you know, one game determines whether or not you get to continue in the league. So that is kind of what is on the line here from Khan in this game, which could determine the series.
Absolutely, both teams want to make their playoff run just a little bit easier here as level 3s have ticked in this bottom lane. Scout of the week gonna go wide mid. A little bit scary for Ohio Drive for the time being, but we got action in this top lane as well here. Smoke and Diminish going at it as the axes are flying. Gonna take one extra tower shot for good measure, and low health bars all around, but both of these junglers on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, it looks like Pride will just have to give up this grab early on over to Fate. The push early on here, not surprising, was going over to the double range Ezreal and Karma, so they were able to come over into the river to make sure they supported that. And remember, early on in the first game, that was the first blood and the first problem for Khan when they overextended to contest for that scuttle crab early on. So instead, Mundo just heading up to the top half of the map and able to pick that one up. But yeah, so definitely a little bit of a quieter start to this game for both teams. You know, I think especially for Khan, you're happy with a quieter of the game so far.
Yeah, definitely. Just with the scaling you have on your team with the Syndra and, you know, the Jinx and even the Mundo, who's going to be very tanky as we move forward into this game. Gonna be chill. Gonna be happy to just kind of go slowly in this early game, and no rush. There's no rush here. They got a long series to fight back in, so no need to get antsy.
Yeah, I mean, I am excited this time to see what the tanks specifically from Khan can do in these team fights, whether or not they'll be able to sort of stymie the engage from DoV. The engage in the last game for DoV Twisted was very, very effective, specifically in setting up for that Vel'Koz. But remember, they don't have the Vel'Koz this time, and they're not going to have Ohio Drive doing that damage on the back line. Not that Silas, you know, can't be very impactful in this game. He'll, you know, Silas can be very, very strong, but not going to be able to play with the same amount of safety that they had in the first one.
Diminish missing out on that taunt here in that top lane. Little trades going back and forth here. Oh, is Ohio Drive looking for something in this mid lane? Gonna burn the flash out of Hoshi. And that's gonna make this Silas feel really good, especially as he ticks 6. Gonna be able to steal away at that Syndra ultimate and have that As we're going in
Oh.
now, Hoshi is 1 HP. Ohio used the flash there, and the chains are not enough to find Hoshi. A little bit out of range there, but we got action in that in this mid lane.
Yeah, Ohio Drive still showing off how strong he is as just a player in general. It doesn't matter what champion he's on. And both mid laners do blow the flash there. So now we'll have to keep an eye on this mid lane. Oh, as Ohio Drive decided to stay.
Pride is here.
One more
One
Q.
more briefcase dodged out.
Oh, he
Nice
barely
job.
would have. He barely had enough mana for that E to get out of the way. Very lucky that he did, because otherwise he would have been dead. And just as that, before that happened, what I was going to say is, in general, I'm looking for junglers to get involved in this mid lane, both of them lacking flash, and Ohio Drive will, be forced to be pretty far up in that lane in order to farm as Silas, as a melee champion here. Smoke in trouble.
Smoke in trouble does have both of the summoner spells. Going to use the Ragnarok first to dodge out any of the CCs. A briefcase is going to hit him in the back, but it's not enough. Smoke gets out, just burning the ultimate. No need for summoner spells.
Doesn't have teleport, though, so he will lose out on some XP here, being forced out of the lane that time.
Okay, I thought that was going to be way worse for Hoshi, but...
It was a really good timing. Yeah, good timing on the stun. Otherwise, that would have potentially been fatal with Panda Boat waiting in the wings there to get involved in the mid lane, which is one of the, that is one of the upsides to Ezreal. He is definitely happy to sit bot lane by himself in the 1v2, can easily still farm out as Panda Boat making his way back down into the lane now, but Ezreal will find himself a little bit up in CS here still, despite the roams from the support. But, Killen has been able to farm totally free as the Jinx. Of course, still very early on here working the one item. It really isn't until like that 3 item mark. Oh my goodness.
Oh man, look at Ohio going in here, fighting the first blood onto Hoshi. And damn, okay.
Yeah.
Game 1.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can just see again how dominant of a player Ohio Drive has been in this series. Picking up the solo kill there on the Silas is huge. I believe he stole the Syndra ultimate again there, using Hoshi's ultimate against him. No vision in this brush here, but just a little bit of poke coming out in the bot lane. But yeah, that is the first blood for DoV. Puts them a little bit ahead in gold here early on. And that Silas, kind of thinking about other ultimates that Silas might be able to realistically make use of and steal later in the game. I think the Syndra one really is the best one. Could potentially steal the Shen ultimate, but it's not really something that you would use in the moment like as much when you steal it in the team fight. So excited to see how, that's one of the things that I think is fun about Silas as a champion, is trying to see how creative really good Silas players can be with what situations they take which ultimates from the enemy team. I guess the Mundo ultimate as well, will allow him to exist for a much longer amount of time in the middle of the enemy team. We always think about like Alistar ultimate as one of the premier ults for Silas to steal. Mundo ultimate, not quite as good, but still sort of the same idea of being able to exist in the enemy backline and not take too much, and being able to survive while dumping as much damage as you possibly can.
Khan able to control vision in this bottom side river here, and they're going to secure that first dragon of the game for themselves. It's a Chemtech. So that's a new one from what we saw in game number 1, but now Diminish could be in trouble here. Ohio Drive in this top lane, looking to potentially dive the Shen. He's taken quite low. Stand United is going to be taken away here as they're diving under the tower. Ragnarok is burned. Stand United is burned as well, but the shield's not enough, and Smoke will go down. Diminish able to trade 1 for 1 in that play. It's going to lose a whole wave on this top side.
Yeah, it definitely feels bad that he's going to lose this wave, but given the circumstances, I think you got to be pretty happy with that. If you are Khan, Diminish, still able to get that 1 kill back, even with the Stand United shield on top of Smoke. Oh, Ohio Drive.
Okay, Hoshi fights back and finds a solo kill for himself.
Yeah, and obviously, the reasoning is that he wants to get all the CS, but I was interested in the fact that Ohio Drive, he made the choice to just teleport straight from that top lane into the mid lane while missing, you know, at least a decent chunk of his HP. Could have recalled to the base and then teleported straight back mid, but instead got a little bit greedy with his choice there. So finally will go, you know, now that he's dead, back in the base, completing the proto belts for now. But yeah, I mean, nice job from Hoshiyomi. Did prioritize taking this pick early with the Syndra and makes use of it, getting the solo kill back there in the mid lane. And actually taking the slight gold lead back for Khan.
On now in the driver's seat here, DoV was able to pick up the grubs after that top lane, shenanigans, but slight gold lead for Khan, like you mentioned here. Hoshi feeling a little more confident in this mid lane after picking up the solo kill, as Diminish is quite low. Here we go, under the tower. Ragnarok is burned. Isn't it enough? No, it's not. And smoke goes down. Solo kill for Diminish.
I mean, Smoke needs to know in that situation that Shen is going to have his W available again, and that's something that, you know, in this lane, when you've watched them trade back and forth, Diminish has done a really good job of using that W in the right circumstances, severely limiting the amount of damage that Smoke is able to trade back in, you know, get back in those trades. And you know, for multiple reasons, diving Shen is really not a good idea. You know, first among them being the taunt, which he does have the opportunity to avoid when he pops his ultimate, but the other being that W, preventing the auto attacks from doing any damage. And I mean, you know, Fed Shen is definitely not gonna, you know, 1v9 the game for you, but it is very nice for Shen to be able to be winning this match of 1v1. They don't have to worry about kind of putting jungle attention up there to help Diminish through this lane. And yeah, the gold lead does expand here to over 1,000 gold from Khan, who's having a much, much better showing here in game number 2.
On that, while we were talking there, Fate had to burn the flash to get away from that play in the top side. So no flash on the Wukong for the time being here. The dragon is spawning in a minute and a half here. I'm sure Khan would like to secure that one for themselves and take a 2-0 dragon lead after they didn't get any in game number 1. So already doing better here, as now Hoshi finds the stun. Ohio Drive missing on the Ibskond Abduct, and that makes it really hard for the Silas to lane into the Syndra. That's a key ability that you gotta hit. And took a bad trade because of it.
Yeah, I mean, things are definitely looking up all across the board here from Khan so far. You know, and I mean, we questioned a little bit this team composition from DoV, not quite as cohesive maybe as their other one. Definitely a little bit more dependent on getting some poke down early on from this Karma and Ezreal, who are of course for now still down into this bot lane. We haven't really seen anything from Fate so far on the Wukong as far as getting involved in fights. Trying to get involved in the bot lane now, though.
Big action here as 2.0 is going to run for the hills, burning the flash to get away. Cyclone's going to be utilized, finds the knockup onto one. The second proc will find the knockups once again, but nothing going on here, as just both of these bot laners for DoV had to burn flash. Hoshi and the Shadow Keeper on the other side having to burn flash for Khan, but the dragon has now spawned. It is Infernal. We got a lot of bodies in this bottom side river here. Started up by Khan. We'll see if they opt to continue on as the top lane tower goes down. Smoke relentless on the split push here. As man, Hoshi just gets caught mid. I think that was another steal from the ultimate steal here, as the dragon goes over to Khan. We'll see what DoV wants to do here as they are running into the fight. Mundo's gonna pop the ultimate to get some healing back. And Ohio goes in further. A lot of damage coming through here, as let's see what they can do. Smoke finds the first kill. And I think that's gonna be all, as Khan limps away, losing 2 but picking up the dragon.
Yeah, they are able to pick up 2 kills there. It is 2 dragons to 0 so far in this one, and it looks like we're looking at another Mountain Soul potentially here. in game number 2, same as game number 1. And off the back of that, also importantly, look at that turret going down for DoV. They're able to really take command off the back of that play and sort of delay the recalls as well from the bot lane of Khan. So able to take advantage of that heavily and pick up that turret, whereas on the other side, top lane turret not going to go down quite yet. Diminish has that Titanic Hydra completed to help him push the wave and get a little bit of split push action going on. But it is 2 turrets taken down here by DoV early on, and so that is one of the areas that they are in front.
Oh man, battling in this top lane here. Smoke in the 1v2, burning the Ragnarok. Gonna have to flash over the wall to get out. As another Rage Bait comes through, Ohio Drive really embodying Daemon Targaryen.
I mean, I get it. I mean, it makes sense coming from Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen that she would have that point of view. But in my opinion, Daemon Targaryen's kind of whack. I would say that Ohio Drive is not at all whack. He has been great.
Been on attack, in fact.
Yeah, he really has.
Okay.
But I guess
this top lane here,
we could debate it, but we'll accept the Rage Bait, I guess. It did Rage Bait me, so that was
Rage Bait successful. Rage Bait successful here as Diminish had to flash away from that gank in the top lane here as the Herald's going to be started up as, oh no, this looks really bad as Khan having to run for the hills. Shadowkeeper's going to go down here as DoV collapses on the mid lane. Going to find 1 kill as well as the Rift Herald off the back of that play. As TP bot for Ohio Drive. Going to have to stop this push coming through, but Pride is in the area. Going to force out this Silas here as now they're going to be fighting. Silas taking pretty low here as one more auto should be enough to do it and will. Pride finds the secure there. And this tower bot lane should go down on this next wave potentially here.
Yeah, nice play by Khan to be able to push Silas out and get the kill there after the action in the mid lane, but we will see a response now here from DoV taking out that final outer turret. Where will they drive the Rift Herald next? What the?
Into the wall.
Okay. Yep. Just, they were done with it. They did get they got a good charge out of it, so that's fine, I guess. Just using it to get out of there, get out of dodge from DoV here. But yeah, I mean, this is a much closer game than we saw in game number 1. It is DoV now in the lead just marginally here. But, you know, looking across the board, this Jinx working on the second item, interestingly, looks like Jinx is going to just go straight into the Infinity Edge. Second item, no messing around, which will, I mean, it should potentially give her an earlier sort of spike of power here, lacking maybe a little bit on the attack speed. But if Jinx is able to get excited, then you don't need to worry about that nearly as much. Plus her passive, as the team fight ramps up, you know, goes on, it ramps up the attack speed there. So that's, you know, still Jinx still yet to actually be involved in any kills in this game. But if Khan is going to be successful, I'm waiting for the moment where Jinx is able to get excited and really pop off in one of these team fights.
Yeah, you have to expect this coming soon here as the Hex Optics done, looking for that Infinity Edge. A little over halfway. The posturing in this bottom side once again here. Dragon spawning soon. 20 seconds in as Khan takes control of this bottom side river. I think DoV is trying to prioritize this mid lane here. Get the wave pushed, work their way down, but Khan is privy to it as here we go. Pride looking for something here as Fate into the backline spinning. Look at this angle from Smoke here as they found Hoshi. The exhaust is going to be taken down as Killen finds a reset. It's time to get excited. Shadowkeeper goes down and Pride in the middle of the entire team. One more honor should be enough to take down the Olaf, but it is not, as now Ohio Drive causing havoc in the backline takes down Killen. The taunt's not going to connect here, and this should be destruction for DoV. That's a 5-for-1 in their favor here, and they're pushing mid, and they're going to pick up this dragon.
point in the game here from DoV, and it's the carries who really shine in that team fight. Both 2.0 and Ohio Drive just going absolutely crazy as the fight went on. Ezreal picking up the double kill on the end, and not only that, they are just perfectly set up to take objectives off the back of the fight as well, securing themselves that Drake to stop Khan from being on soul point and that inner turret in the mid lane. That is really going to accelerate the gold lead for them. All of a sudden, in a moment's time, it feels like DoV going up 4K gold, and all of a sudden, definitely feels a lot more difficult here for Khan in this matchup.
It does indeed, and that kind of feels like the play that breaks the game open here. You know, with Khan was playing nicely here. Khan was looking good in this early game, a lot better than they were in game number 1 here, but now sit at a 3,000 gold disadvantage. You know, for them on the bright side, they were able to pick up those 2 dragons early in the game, so the Dragon Soul will not really be a factor.
Yep.
For the foreseeable future, but DoV, Ohio Drive on the Silas has been putting in work. 9 out of the 10 KP in this game. That's why he is the Wither.
Yeah, he definitely has continued to live up to that name. Oh, we got more fighting here.
Panda Boat gonna get stunned up, does have the flash, will use to get over the wall, but now Fate looking on to Killin. Cyclone's gonna be spinning down as Will gets stunned up and go down. Uh-oh, we're getting excited once again here as Killin finds the last hit there. Ragnarok's now gonna be used by Smoke trying to find Hoshi, but will not as a shutdown goes over. 700 gold to the Syndra. And wait a minute. Khan back in this game after 2 quick shutdowns, and they're onto the Baron.
Yeah, they do have this Infinity Edge, Jinx, so they should be able to rip through this Baron pretty quickly. No worries about tanking it up with the Mundo and Braum either. Syndra going to teleport right back in here. Ohio Drive wants to have something to say about it, though.
7 seconds on Fate. The Baron's at 6K. What can Ohio Drive do? They don't know that he's around this corner as Killin is in a vulnerable spot here. He's going on to him. Gonna go golden to try and buy some time as the Baron's gonna get stunned up, rooted, and this should be a dead Silas Pride. Gonna pick up that kill as he's flashing forward now onto 2.0. 2.0 finds the Syndra, but will it be enough? He should go down after this. No, his Pride is taking 1 HP. True Up Mirage not gonna find the mark as Shadowkeeper now has to flash away to safety. Smoke with the TP coming in, and this is ripping through the team. Khan, 3 members down, but they do secure the Baron on at least 1.
Yeah, this is really good. I mean, even though the Baron is secured and this is a, nice turn of events overall for Khan, you can see the next level team play here from DoV, knowing that they have that teleport available from Smoke to still get into the fight, with Panda Boat arriving just in the nick of time to be able to save 2.0, who looked a little bit doomed there, with multiple members barreling down in. So they are able to sort of limit the bleeding from that play on the side of DoV. So really nice job by them. But this game is definitely still alive, and you can see how much the team composition makes a difference here from Khan in that initial fight before the Baron. They do have a lot of cohesiveness as far as they can get the Braum passive on one member, take them down, and then from there they're able to continue picking members off one by one. So if Khan can find more fights that look like that, they can have the potential to remain relevant in this game, but it's going to be tough because DoV, we've seen the team play that they're, capable of, and 2.0 does seem very, very adept at this Ezreal so far. Excellent kiting on the back end of that fight.
Absolutely, and Khan was in a really good position there, still wearing purple, so they're still feeling good about their chances right now, but a nice job by DoV to fight back and not, kind of stem the bleeding that came from the fight and the Baron before. This mid lane tower is going to go down here, and that means we're going to get excited. We'll see if they look to find anything. It's Fate just going to run for the hills here. Teleport now. Coming in as 5 members strong for Khan in this mid lane. They don't have a wave, though, as he'll be able to clear out that without any issues. There's no objectives for the time being here, but these jungle camps are going to get taken away by Khan, trying to secure what they can off of this mid lane push. Just Still got one pushing in the bottom lane now for DoV. Oh, never mind. He just reset.
Yeah, probably would have liked to get a little bit more off of that teleport. Unfortunately, not going to be able to continue to push with the Baron buff in this moment. But we do have a little bit of an ARAM going on for now. Both teams, 4 members, almost 5 members strong here in the mid lane with this dragon available.
Ooh.
Both teams would love to pick this one up. Gen ult, it looks like, is picked up by Ohio Drive for now.
Dragon gonna be started up by DoV here. It's going down pretty quick as it should be able to take it no problem. Gonna get secured. Now let's see what the fight coming in after here. As Fate looking for something, gonna be spinning. Ragnarok into the backside as Smoke doing a lot of damage, but will go down. Yoshi trying to get the damage on his Cyclone, still spinning in the backside. Somehow Killin is still alive, and he is going crazy. 2 kills down, 3 kills down. It's only 2.0 left, a 4 for 0 in favor of Khan, and they're gonna be pushing down mid.
Yeah, both Ohio Drive and Smoke going into that backline, but neither one of them is able to pick up the kills that they needed. And now Khan should be able to break open the base here. I would imagine they've got the minions here. Mundo's able to tank the turret to make sure the minions can stay alive. We'll see how much more they are able to pick up. And we can see, I mean, this Jinx does mean that the game is never over for Khan until the Nexus dies, and you could see it in that team fight. I don't really understand, I think DoV probably would have been better served just trying to play it defensively off the back of taking the dragon. They were able to pick that one up really quickly, could have maybe tried to back off, but instead the solo laners both taking their own turns to sort of run into the enemy backline and, not really get anything done with it. And so this is still a close game, closer than you might have thought if you were DoV, apparently, with how they forced that fight, because Khan now back into the driver's seat with the gold lead. We're not going to see any sort of soul anytime soon with both of these teams sitting on 2 dragons, so those will continue to be a point of emphasis, I would imagine, for both of these teams. Both of them going to be fighting over the next one in 3 minutes. Baron coming up much sooner than that, just about a minute until that one will be back on the Rift.
Baron spawning soon, and that's going to start a big fight here. Neither of these teams want to let that go. But like you mentioned, Jinx being online means that anything could happen. Man, we're full of rage baits today. Let's see. Oh, just kidding. Ohio looking for Diminish. I'm gonna let you take that one.
Oh, DoV, hubris is a cruel mistress, isn't she? From Odysseus. As featured in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, in a theater near you soon. I don't know why I'm doing ads all of a sudden for movies that don't sponsor us, but they should. They should.
I mean, hey. I'm down.
We would really be in the big leagues if we were being sponsored by that, but
Flay would pay his production finally.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. But it does. I agree with Odysseus, just in that hubris seems to have gotten the best of DoV in some of these fights, just going a little bit too hard, maybe being just a little bit too confident in their ability to take down those backline members. They need to find, a different sort of setup. Ohio Drive could be in trouble. Looks like he should be able to get away. I think one thing that it feels like they're missing in this game in comparison to the first one is the initial engages from Pandabo, because that Nautilus was typically the one starting out the fight for DoV. They don't have that this time, and it's not working nearly as well for, one of their main damage dealers in Ohio Drive to be the first one into the backline, because that is generally the first one to end up going down in the fights as well. And then this Ezreal doesn't have the damage that something like a Jinx or even the Kaisa from game number 1 does have in order to finish out these fights.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, especially, just the state of where Killin is at in this game, way stronger than he ever was.
Definitely.
in the last game. So and also on a champion that can kind of do more in these big team fights here. And Smoke now gonna be in trouble here, burning the Ragnarok, but it's gonna get chased down. The Zap is not gonna connect, and the Ghost plus Ragnarok combination is enough speed to get the Olaf out of there. Top lane tier 1 will fall in favor of Khan. But I think that's going to be it here as the Baron has now spawned. DoV picking up that top lane Scuttle Crab around the objective. Going to get a little bit of control into this river, but top laners now both in this bottom side here as we got 4v4 strong for each of these teams. The Dragon has also now just spawned as the count even at 2 for these teams, and for the time being, no one wants to pull the trigger yet. It's just a vision battle.
Yeah, I think they are going to just have Smoke solo out this Dragon for now while they're trying to buy time on the other half of the map. The Olaf easily able to take that one down for themselves, and I don't think that there's any vision there right now for Khan. So if he is able to just solo this one out... Oh, Shen is going to check it out, though.
I don't think Shen can fight him. Oh, man, here we go. As Fate gonna go in with the Cyclone, killing, has to flash over the wall to safety, but now this is a good position to fight in as Fate is in trouble. Oh, Ohio flashing over the wall, finds Killing, and that's gonna be big for DOT. Gonna get stunned up, goes Golden, sponsored by Zonia's, as we'll see what can happen next. A lot of heals coming through here as 2.0 going dominating now in this edge roll, eating forward Pride, the last member, as Hoshi runs for the hills, and look out, a 4-for-0 back in favor of DoV.
It felt like just a matter of time until Ohio Drive found the angle, and he found it exactly in the nick of time there, able to get onto the backline to take down the Jinx, and they will be able to claim the Baron off the back of that one. Some excellent teamwork and in that team fight from DoV. Twisted 2.0 also doing his best Ezreal work there, chunking out the Syndra early on in the fight, able to eat the Syndra ult, still stay alive. Just very impressive stuff here. I mean, I think that for DoV, this kind of team play in the moments where they've really needed it is what bodes well for them going into the playoffs of CCS, because win or lose this series, we will see them again next week, and they want to enter that playoff bracket on a high note. They haven't finished off this game or this series quite yet, but they are back in the driver's seat after picking up the Baron there, as well as the Dragon. Those 3, now that they've picked up those 3 Mountain Dragons as well, it does really start to stack up a little bit of extra tankiness for them, which is critical in surviving the initial burst of damage from the Syndra as well as the Jinx. And Ohio Drive now sitting on 3.5 items here. Ezreal already at 4.5 items, so these carries are about very, very strong at the moment.
Fight's coming in here. It's the flash forward. They found Panda Boat, and that's gonna be 1. Killen gets excited. We'll see what the Jinx can do here as check mid lane. Smoke,
on the base.
relentless on assault here, gonna take down the mid lane inhibitor, going that far in. And it's a 1 kill traded for the mid lane inhibitor and inhibitor tower. You have to think that that's beneficial for DoV there. Nice job by Smoke on the split push, running straight into that top lane now to try and break the base even more with all of these members down here as the stun lands onto 2.0, but Cyclone's gonna be spinning. Fate could be in trouble here, not gonna get knocked up, but the clone will, and Pride is just running in. Ooh, Fate's just stun hits too as Fate goes down. Ohio goes Golden to try and buy some time, but I think it's not enough here as the Stand United comes in, leaves top lane wide open for Smoke to take another inhibitor.
Yeah, and so they are picking up kills here from Khan, which is absolutely better than nothing, but the problem is because their base is just getting shoved in, obviously, 1, they're losing the inhibitors, but 2, it also just doesn't allow Khan to really do much off the back of this play. They just have to get back into the base and defend as best as they can against these minions. It's still, it's a very slight gold lead here for DoV, but at this point, they are going to have control over the map, because there will be those super minions barreling down the mid and top lanes. Will could allow them to continue controlling the vision, especially on this bottom half of the map where it's still 2.5 minutes before that dragon. But you would have to think that that soul would be huge if and when DoV is able to pick that one up. Yeah, I mean, it's also not surprising, I guess, that Khan would be able to win those team fights, given that Olaf was spending the entire time in the base. And I think if you're DoV, you're okay with taking that trade.
Absolutely, you get to break open the base. You know, it does bring into account you're giving Khan extra gold farming those waves. But
that's true.
On the other side of that play, you have basically full control of the map because Khan is forced to farm these waves. So with the dragon spawning in 2 minutes, with Baron spawning in a little over 2 minutes, DoV is going to have some time to get vision set up and sort of stake their claim on what these neutral objectives.
I will say also, I feel like this Mundo is starting to become more and more of an issue in these team fights. Like, he is just absolutely unkillable, it feels like, for DoV, which is something that we were a little bit concerned about coming into this, with the AD carry being Ezreal. But that's just another thing to watch, you know, just especially as a frontliner for this Jinx. But especially if DoV can find their way again into the back line to try to get the Jinx, at that point, it would be pretty bad news if you are Khan. So those are kind of the things that I am keeping an eye on here, is how well can these tanks from Khan stand in the front line and keep Jinx alive. That is going to be a lot of what determines the winner of this game number 2. Ezreal, though, is the only one who is actually yet to die in this game, has managed to stay alive time after time, and does once again have the flash available, in addition to all of the speed boosts and shields that he's picking up from the Karma. So that has been kind of a thorn in the side of Khan, have not yet managed to actually take down the AD carry from DoV.
Yeah, Ezreal, one of those champions who's very slippery, very hard to kill. And this dragon spawning in 25 seconds here. The gold lead is negligible, 200 in favor of DoV right now, but the super minions are pressing in. We got a little bush camp from DoV here. We'll see if they can find anything, as Khan moving as a unit so far. As Ohio Drives looks onto Hoshi. Nice job by Braum blocking in. Ohio Drive's going to have to flash out to dodge the Glacial Fissure. Diminish walking into that top lane. Does have the Stand United available, as the dragon has spawned. Khan working their way back into this bottom side river. Onto the dragon we go here. 8,000 health. Ohio Drive and Panda doing their best, zoning 3K on the dragon. Pride looking for something, trying to walk in. Can he get into the pit to steal? As now 2K walking in, pops the ultimate. Is it going to be
enough? Was that one?
But Fate secures it. Now, look at what Smoke can do in the backline. Finds Killen.
Oh.
This is disastrous for Khan. As Killen goes down, Hoshi follows. Shadowkeeper on the backside is going to fall. Pride will fall as well. A double kill comes through for Fate. It's 4-0. Make that 5-0 as DoV claims the victory in the team fight. 5-0 ace. And this is going to be the game.
That is going to be it in this series for DoV. They've got the minions in the base. They've got multiple members here to finish it off. And even though this second game was a lot rockier than the first one, they make it look easy in the end, picking up that 50-50 smite at the dragon and finishing off Khan in this series.
DoV Twisted takes the series in 2-0 fashion here. Huge performances from them in both games. And Ohio Drive, you know, finding nice angles in these team fights, able to find Killen, and also Smoke finding Killen in that last team fight. So able to pick it up. You mentioned last week they had a loss that maybe they shouldn't have had, and this one's going to feel good coming into playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. A very, very nice victory for them to thunder into the CCS playoffs in that upper bracket of, of the playoffs. Obviously, either way would have gotten to avoid the gauntlet, but huge for them to go in on a high note. And exciting to watch what seems to be one of the top tiers teams here in CCS Apollo League.
We are going to take a short break, but we will be back with Panda Boat, the support from the winning DoV Twisted. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it. And we are back with Panda from the winning DoV Twisted. Panda, congrats on the win. How you feeling?
I'm feeling like a little chud.
Okay.
Expand on that.
Did you guys see the flash over the wall?
Which one?
Maybe
the Nautilus flash over the wall where I just absolutely inted my team because I thought I had Hex Flash.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Look, that game was it was in a position where you could afford to flash over the wall like that. Or I mean, I guess if maybe it wasn't at that point, but you needed to give him a little bit of a what am I saying here? A little bit of a handicap, I guess. Don't you think, in that first one?
Yeah, Fumi was kind of doing them dirty, so we're not even gonna call it a Hex Flash mistake. We're gonna call it a aura moment.
All right. Well, congratulations, first of all, on that victory. Curious for you guys, you were on the stream last week and suffered an unfortunate loss to Skyloft Spire, a team that, on paper, people really thought that you should have been able to beat. So curious, coming off a loss like that, did you need to do anything as a team to sort of get the momentum turned around? Because it seemed like you came out with a lot of energy tonight.
Yeah, we realized that our bot lane is cracked and that if they want to fight us straight up, we should fight them. And then they pick Ziggs, so we realized we also have a cracked mid laner, and we just moved everything onto his plate.
Yeah, makes sense. Definitely worked out. And, as we were saying throughout the stream, Ohio Drive was absolutely huge in this series. I mean, talk a little bit about him as a mid laner, what he brings to your team.
So he cries when we don't gank his lane. So we were like, hey, if we gank his lane, he doesn't cry and he gets fed out the butt and we can win. So, I mean, big wins.
That makes sense. You were in there, you were in the mid lane flashing in, like, what was it, like 4 or 5 minutes in? So you definitely lived that response, I guess, to him as a mid laner. So, props to you as a support of knowing what your team needs. So the other thing I wanted to ask about is you all had, especially in that second game, you did an excellent job of sort of responding in the moments where Khan was able to take advantages. For example, when they took the Baron there, I believe it was the first Baron, and then you were able to have your top laner TP in and just looking really cohesive. So I'm curious with that, is there, is it for the shot calling? Do you have a specific member of your team that does a majority of the shot calling? Is it sort of a team effort, or how do you organize that?
A lot of the mid game is a pretty cohesive team effort. We'll call when we have TPs available, when we want to move. If I'm ever playing like Nautilus or any engage, I'm the one saying, "Hey, I want to look this," and they hold me back like a child on a leash to say, "Hey, that's not a good look right now. Let's chill." And then when I'm on like Karma or something more Enchanter, I'm the one that's like, "Guys, I have heal. Let's go. Let's keep it going. Keep it going." And like those fights that we were able to turn around topside around Baron and stuff, that was us like, "Hey, can we play this?" And I'm like, "Yes, I have big shields. Let's fight it." So we do a pretty good job of communicating as a team. I would say 2.0 is probably the least calm person, but I mean, he's on ADC, he's playing Ezreal. Who cares, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he's on his own when you're playing Ezreal, obviously. So going into the playoffs here, I think that on paper for now, and this could change, you're going to be going against Syndicate Sean's fan club. Just curious, how you're feeling as a team going into the playoffs. Are there any particular teams that you're, excited to potentially play against? Anybody that you're worried about?
Nobody we're worried about. I think we've learned to respect each team in the league. Except for like Fire. I think we didn't put enough respect on their name last week. But I think we've done a pretty good job of adjusting to both the meta and what our team wants to do moving forward. So we move into best of fives next week, and I think our depth is actually going to be a really good PowerPoint too, because we have a lot of people that play a lot of weird stuff, and we can move it across the map and flex picks and stuff like that. And a lot of these other teams usually only have like 2 or 3 picks. In a BO5, I feel like they're going to fall down. So.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. So you got a life-changing platform here, obviously on this CCS interview stage. Anything that you wanted to say, anybody you wanted to shout out within the Twitch TOS here is the only limit, but it's your platform here. If you had anything that you wanted to communicate to our audience.
Yeah, shout out the whole team. TN, the Tadpole, Minecraft, yeah. That guy's a wicked good player. I don't know why people keep putting disrespect on his name. Everyone else on my team, honestly, you saw Fumi pop off this whole series. Smoke had a heck of a series, and 2.0 is like, he said it himself, he's a Chinese Ezreal player. I know somebody was questioning his ability to play the champ, so. But yeah, they're all great. And then our coach, I know he got some flack last week because we drafted LPL solo queue style, but I mean, we locked back in and we were able to 2-0 this team. So, and shout out all of our subs, real quick. Sorry about that. All of our subs have been on the roster and they've been there whenever we needed them. And yeah, they don't get to play, they don't get like FaceTime, but they're amazing rocks for our team.
Right. Well, that was Panda, the from the winning DoV Twisted, secured, I believe, Group B second seed going into the upper bracket playoffs next week. Thank you guys for watching. That's going to be it for us on this Week 8 cast. I've been Ratchains, joined by Elsa the Queen. Big shout out to our production, Golden and Pop-Tart, for making the magic happen on screen. Hope you guys had a great time watching here, and we will see you next week for the beginning of the playoffs. Have a good rest of your week.